Coming to you from the studios at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, it's the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Rock and roll Chicago, rock and roll Chicago, my hometown. Well, I was born in the city, gonna rock the city, Chicago. Chicago rock and rollers are the best here around.
Hey everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood Mike on a very rainy, cold April.
Yeah, after we've had like 2 or 3 80-degree days.
Yeah, can you believe that crap?
It snowed Monday.
Well, the sun shined on Monday.
It did.
And then it got windy on Monday, and then it snowed on Monday.
And it snowed, yep.
And then it got dry.
Yep.
And then by the next morning, it was somewhat warm again.
And today it's like winter again.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing experience being here in the Chicago area.
It is. And we made it here.
Yeah. Are you experienced?
Depends on what you're talking about.
I don't know, Paul. Are you experienced?
Yes, I am.
And are you
experienced.
effective?
I can be effective.
Yes. Yeah. And before anybody starts thinking that we're talking about porn or something like that, we should probably explain.
Yes, that joining us is Paul Navarro of the Hendrix Effect.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes,
And he
sir.
brought an entourage
with him. Yeah, he's not the only one in the studio. Yeah. So how you doing, Paul?
Doing good.
Good. Excellent. So when did you put this whole Hendrix Effect together?
Probably about 2 years ago. This would have been maybe early 2023.
Okay.
Just kind of put it together as like a side project to go to some jam nights in the area and just play these tunes because they're pretty cool and you don't really hear them all that often. And fast forward like 6 or 7 months later, and we've got 3 or 4 shows booked in the area in some smaller clubs, smaller bars. And there's a lot of attention. It's fun. We've got, 2 sets of material, and next thing you know, the following summer we're doing, some festivals and opening up for some bigger bands. So it's a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why you don't hear that music very often at open jams, is because most people don't have the balls to attempt it.
But yeah,
That's true.
I mean,
I still don't, but we do it anyway.
So I'm assuming you are the Jimi Hendrix of the
I play guitar and I sing. But that said, the other guys in the group do sing too. I think originally they weren't going to, but I kind of pushed it on them just to kind of just get them involved a lot more and kind of try to make sure people didn't think it was some kind of 1-for-1, even though we are a 3-piece. That's intentional. But we're not trying to do Jimi Hendrix theater. I make it a point to put on some of the flyers and some of the promo materials that it's a dedication band. Oh. That's not necessarily. I knew we talk about tributes.
That's a funny way of saying tribute band.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's fine, and people say it, and I think that's fine. And we get lumped in with all of them, and it's totally fine. But just when people dig in and ask, like, it's not theater,
right?
Now, that's not to say there aren't bands out there that do that, and we were talking about it earlier.
There's a bazillion of them. Yeah.
But they look like them. Like, let's talk about American English. They look like them. They sound like they have multiple wardrobe changes, the instruments, everything. Now, I mean, that's a thing, and that's totally fine. I've seen that band multiple times, and it's great. That's not to say we don't do anything like them, but we operate as a 3-piece. We don't wear any wigs or anything like that. But we play the music first, like to the best of our ability, and that's where it starts. And then everything else, I think, kind of wears off on people and go, this is just for the music, and it's great.
Right. So I'm assuming, since you're just a 3-piece, that I guess you lean more toward the Jimi Hendrix experience rather than Band of Gypsys.
Nope.
In your song. No,
we do them all. We do them all.
Yeah.
And Band of Gypsys is a 3-piece as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're kind of stripping down that Band of Gypsys. Well, yeah. I mean, when I think of Band of Gypsys, everybody, I think, is going to think about the Woodstock era, when you had conga players on the stage and everything else like that. Right.
That's right. For Woodstock, they had some other guys on stage, and they were billed in weird ways. It was like, and he was up there and he's like, yeah, it's the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Band of Gypsy Rainbows, whatever you want to call it.
We got tired of that one, so we put this together. We call it Gypsy Sun and Rainbows or something, and just for short, the Band of Gypsys or something like that.
They had Billy Cox on bass, but they went back to Mitch Mitchell on drums, and they brought in some other guys, and for that kind of stuff, I mean, it's not impossible that down the line there might be an opportunity for some other musicians to join in and make it interesting in a different weird way. But to pull this stuff off as a 3-piece is pretty impressive. It's hard. Like you said, it's it's really difficult.
If you do say so yourself, right?
Yeah. No, I'm trying.
No, I know.
It's trying.
No, yeah. I mean, when I really want to sit down and think, okay, I've got like 5 hours to myself and I'm going to do nothing. Let me sit down and learn how to play one Jimi Hendrix song. No,
just the guitar.
So what do most people do? They pick the one that sounds the easiest, and so that's the ones that end up getting played.
Yeah.
I saw one of your videos. You played you played Manic Depression, and that's the one song that bands just can't figure out how to play. I've been in 3 bands that have played that song. The first one couldn't figure it out. Then the second one, I said, let's play that song only because I wanted to be an asshole and I wanted to see if anybody else could figure it out. And I did the same thing the third time. It was just, but
couldn't get it together.
Drummers just don't seem to realize that that's a waltz. Get out of your rock and roll head and play a waltz.
I didn't know it at the time, but it's a really good test because that was when we first started. It was Manic Depression, All on the Watchtower, and If 6 Was 9.
Yep.
And I figured if couldn't play those, then either we didn't have the right people or it just wasn't possible.
Yeah.
It just wasn't possible. No, well, we got through it. Big accolades to the drummer. His name's Jesse Fernandez. He knew of Jimi Hendrix, but he never really like dug in. Let alone the first song he had to learn was Manic Depression, which it's in 3/4. It's somewhat of an odd meter, if you will.
Right.
But he's nailing it, so it's fine. We got that. Yeah.
You never hear about drummers talking about, when they talk about, who are your biggest influences? Everybody says Neil Peart. Everybody says Alex Van Halen. Nobody ever talks about, people that have played with Jimi Hendrix, but holy crap, they're fantastic.
Yeah, Mitch Mitchell and Buddy Miles, 2 different types of drummers, but very powerful people. And I think that's also the reason why I've gotten these guys singing some songs too, is that I know that for this particular group, Jimi Hendrix is the guitar player and the lyricist. That's amazing. And it does overshadow the fact that Mitch Mitchell is a superior drummer.
He's amazing.
Some of the people that they'll name off he's in there right at the top.
Right.
And even Noel Redding, there's nothing to pass on Noel Redding. Did great for what he was doing in that band there.
Yep.
And then Billy Cox, if you dig in deeper and stuff, he's a fantastic bass player.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah. So we we do the guitar stuff, but we also try to highlight the drums and the bass because they are really fantastic when you dig into it.
Right. I've got a DVD at home and I can't remember which one it is. I'm pretty sure it might be from Monterey Pop Fest. Maybe not. Maybe it isn't. But I remember thinking to myself, "What's that?"
You should have that one.
I should, but I can't remember which one I have at home. But I remember thinking to myself, "Man, it's got to be really hard to play drums for him." And I believe it was Mitch Mitchell on the drum at the time, especially with your forehead laying on your snare. I mean, I was watching that video the whole time. His head is down.
Yeah,
his head is like literally just like a centimeter away from the snare, and I was expecting to see his head like bobbing up and down every time he hit the snare. But man, he was just, he had to have been on something.
And back then, the monitor situation was kind of hit or miss back then. Like I feel for those, late 60s, like stage volume and monitor mix, like it not being able to hear each other or whatever, very minimally, it's very difficult.
No, and it wouldn't have made a difference anyway with the fact that Jimmy had a stack of Marshalls, dying.
Follow him. I guess that's how it went.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no kidding. So let's talk about it a little bit. So, I mean, when you decided that you were going to put these together for a jam session, right? Were you always influenced by Jimi Hendrix? Or you said this is just a good idea for the jam session? And
it actually wasn't my idea. It was the bass player. His name is Roger Mall. Okay. He came up to me and he was doing his cabinets. He was stripping them off and he was going to repaint them. And he put something on random on his phone, and it was Jimi Hendrix, and he just kind of got this kind of idea in the back of his head. He's like, hey, let me text Paul. He's a big Hendrix fan, and I am. I grew up in. I picked up the guitar because of him. But I didn't play it all the time. He was just the guy that got me started, and I listened to it. I know most of the songs. Never played any of them with any bands, but I just love the music. Right. So he's like, well, let me call Paul and see what he would be the guy. I guess I wasn't even thinking about it. Yeah. And I go, okay, well, let's try it. Let's pick some songs, let's find a drummer and let's search some songs, see what sticks. And so 2.5 years later, we're still rocking and rolling with it, and he's still not done with those cabinets.
Yeah, that would be me.
Don't let his wife hear that. He's like, you gotta finish it now.
Wow. So okay. So when you first said his cabinets, I was thinking like he was stripping and refinishing like a bass cabinet, like a speaker cabinet. You mean like his kitchen cabinet?
Kitchen cabinets. Yeah. They were like due for a refresh.
Yeah. You better get up your ass and do that now because it's going to be all over the internet now.
Oh, yeah. So whenever it does get published, I'll let him know in advance. But I can just make sure she's not listening.
Yeah. But in his defense, I know that that's a pain in the ass. I've done it twice. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't want to do. So, but good luck to you.
Yeah, that got his mind off it for about 2.5 years ongoing. So.
Yeah. That's good. So are you, are you trying to mimic the guitar tone at all? Or are you using your own stuff and putting your own swipe on it, so to speak?
No, that's a good point. That's good. That's a really good tech question for what the rig was going to be like. So for the variety of songs that we do, it's kind of like there are some songs that have clean tones and you got some studio effects that you want to touch. When he played live, he really just had the Marshall stacks and a couple pedals. Yep. And he's masterful work of the volume control on his guitar. Yep. But for some of the songs that we do that he's never performed live, we need a little bit more, or at least for the guitar part, we need a little bit more variety in the tone. So I use a 2-channel amp. So there's a distortion tone and then there's a clean tone. And then I got a couple pedals just embellish on that. Right. And that's about it. That's about as much as I'll deviate. I guess the 2-channel amp, because it's really hard to pull off some of the clean stuff if I've got to roll back volumes, and it just doesn't sound as good. And the technology exists to be there. And I know there's some purists out there like, well, you need to use the super plexi, and like those are $3,000, $4,000 amps that I'm not going to drop or let somebody spill something on. And so
how many guitars have you burned up
on purpose or
on stage?
No, 0. Speaking of guitars, I do use a Stratocaster, and I use the neck pickup probably 90% of the time,
of course.
So which is that has worked really well throughout doing all of this. So
of course,
kind of spread out. I mean, that's where you start, but that's all that's really needed.
And that's the guitar that you see him play most of the time. And so
he's used the Flying V. And he's got an SG, which have humbuckers in them, and he usually plays Red House with those or some of the blues tunes. But we get by just fine. Stratocaster, it's fine.
Yeah. People who are just getting into Hendrix, or the first time they listen to him, they hear all of the studio effects and the things that they have in his recordings, and then they take it a step further and they get concert videos and they're like, well, this song doesn't sound the same. Well, yeah, that's because he doesn't have a phaser on this song, or that's because he doesn't have a delay on this song. When he's doing it live, he's got the fuzz face, he's got his wah pedal, right? That's all I've ever seen at his feet when he's performing live.
And in later years, the Octavia,
that did come in,
and the Univibe was a really big thing. But and I have those things. Yeah, totally.
Excellent.
And what we do, that's a good point that you bring that up, is that we do tend to lean on the live versions of the songs than the studio versions, just because there's always. We could do the studio version, but if you're doing it that way, I think there's an expectation that, A, then B, then C, then D happens. And, these pitches and these notes and these little screeches happen here and there, and you don't hear them. Right. You're missing it or something like that. But when you tend to lean on the live versions, you're kind of taking people for a ride through the song and maybe where it's been over time. And I think that just breathes some new life into the live versions that we play.
Just get your mind together. Then come on, sweetie. We'll hold hands in the middle. Watch the sunrise from the bottom of the sea. But first, are you experienced? Anyway.
some part might be a little bit longer than others, or we might jam in the middle here, or just take a little twist to the left or right every now and again. And I think that keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, you mentioned all along the Watchtower, it's like, yeah, who wants to have the tape delay and all that other stuff there to play the solos and everything like that? I mean, I don't know about you, but that's all a distraction for me. If I start tap dancing on pedals, I just completely forget what the heck
it's
I'm
interesting
doing.
you bring that up, because that is one that I do. We do
you really?
play it like it's like, okay, if we're going to do some song, let's just make some of them as like best as possible, and that's one that we'll get. At least I try to get right on, and this is a load of guitar work. Like,
it is.
My God, it's the same riff over and over, but wow, when you get to the 3 different solo sections and the out, it's just thing after thing after thing.
Yeah.
But like for Hey Joe, for example, which this is the easiest song in the set.
Right.
We take the Live at BBC version where there's a completely different intro and this guitar goes out of tune, and then they cut the song short and they go into Sunshine of Your Love and they get kicked off of the BBC. Like, we do that version.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
So,
no, that's interesting. So you mentioned you have a 2-channel amp. What's the amplifier that you use?
at the moment, I'm using a Marshall DSL.
Okay. Yeah.
Marshall's tone just gets right to it.
You know, those DSLs as well as other amplifiers like by Fender and Bogner and stuff like that. There's a lot of those things are gaining some popularity here recently. I think because number one, they weigh half the amount as an all tube amp, and they sound pretty decent. So it's why not?
Yeah. Sure,
and they get the job done.
They do, yes.
Yeah, excellent. So what kind of places are you guys playing? You brought us this poster here. I wish we had our video up, but it's going to come soon.
I'll take a picture of it and put it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, we got this poster. This is something that's actually coming up for you guys, is it? Or no?
Yes, that's right, in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So you guys, Friday,
So
April
April's
25th.
Coming up. It's coming up this Friday, April 25th.
This Friday, April 25th. Wow.
Yes.
At the Hobart Theater.
The Hobart Art Theater, yeah.
Or am I saying that? I thought it was Hobart.
Everybody, well, you know what? It is Hobart.
It's Hobart.
It is Hobart. It's not Hobart.
It's not Hobart.
No, it's Hobart.
Yeah. Our Cadillac Groove fan, Jess, would correct you and tell you that it is supposed to be Hobart.
It is Hobart.
Yeah.
We did a show last year there. We opened up for a band called All My Brothers, which was an Allman Brothers band.
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of our first toe in the water on that stage. And I've seen the hundreds of shows there. So to play local at a local theater is really it's really cool. And then all our family and friends will come out. And then they brought us back to, for open up for this jump band, and that's going to be a big show too. And so we're excited, even if it's just a little bit of time to get up there and show off what we do. It's going to be great. And that show that will sell out. So if you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, Van Halen, that's pretty cool. No, these guys are phenomenal, and it's a big show. Like like that, they're the kind of band that they're dressed like them, and they have the pyrotechnics. I don't know about pyrotechnics, but they have the light show and the jumping and everything, and the big guitar solos, and I've seen them play before, and they're absolutely amazing. So I'm going and I'm playing, and I get to see these guys at the same time too. So this is going to be a really nice show.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then a couple of club, bar and club shows, and then when we get back through the summer, there's some festivals. There's one in Hobart called the Lakefront Festival that we'll be playing at. We'll be out in LaPorte, which is, going out to the east at a place called Waterford Inn. Yeah. We do some Michigan shows. We'll be at, I don't think this is on this particular list here, but at Watermark Brewing up in Michigan.
Oh, yeah. Familiar with that place.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That's good. Yeah. It's good, great brewery there. Great brewery. Yeah. We played there kind of late in the summer last year, and I think we did pretty well. So they're bringing us back in August. Mm-hmm. And then the big one for us is there's this festival in Valparaiso, Indiana, at the pavilion there called the Wolf Stock.
Oh, wow.
You guys have dogs?
The Wolf Stock. Yeah. Well, it used to.
You have dogs? Okay.
Let's not talk about we had to put them down.
Dogs. Okay. No, I'm sorry to hear. Well, anyways, it's a big festival for dog lovers, and not just dogs. You could bring any animal there, but largely because it's called the Wolf Stock, a lot of the dog folk bring their dogs out, and there's there's vendors and stuff on the side, and then they have a big concert, and we'll be headlining Wolfstock, and the bands that play are kind of touching in on that era of the Santana and and Crosby, Stills, Nash and stuff like that.
You're listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago Podcast. Hey, everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood Mike of the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast. If you've been enjoying our weekly program, we have great news for you. Just tune in to Road to Rock Radio on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Time, and you can hear a rebroadcast of one of our past episodes. Then again on Thursdays at 7 p.m., you can hear our most current episode brought to you by the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66.
So go to roadtorock.org, scroll down, and click on Radio Station. That'll bring you to the Road to Rock Radio, a station committed entirely to the great music from Illinois, from Chicago blues born on Maxwell Street to today's rock and roll and everything in between. 24/7, all music with its roots in Illinois.
So are you playing? Are you playing full nights? Are you playing like the standard 1 hour sets or 3 1 hour sets? 20-minute breaks. Is there enough music? Do you have enough material to play all by yourself, or are you opening for people? How's that working for you?
We have enough material to play by ourselves. We're usually doing the clubs that'll do two hour 15 sets with a little bit of a break. Mm-hmm. So we've been doing those, and then when the opportunity is right, we will split the bill. We'll split the bill with another band that works. Usually is for opening up for these other acts, but we play 2 really solid sets. So the Band of Gypsys songs like Machine Gun. And who
you
knows?
can play those for 20 minutes.
Those are good 10-minute songs there. And so we spread them out, but we sprinkle it in, and next thing you know, we're like, man, we have over an hour here already, and we're like 10 songs or something like that.
Do you find the people that are coming out to see you are expecting you to do things like that?
I hope so.
I guess what I'm getting at is, do you see the same faces in the crowd all the time? Are they going there because they're pretty much expecting what they're going to get with your band? Are you bringing in new people? Are you turning young people on to Hendrix music with what you're doing?
The experienced folk, if that's how if you want to refer to them as experienced folk. No, they're definitely there to see some of their favorite songs, and they'll call out some deeper cuts, and I feel like they think we don't know. But
they're testing you.
Like you'll say, Castles Made of Sand. Like, oh, you got it. Here we go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
and,
okay.
And we pull it off. Speaking of youngsters, yes. When we first, I know a couple times last year, we had a couple shows that we brought in a couple youngsters that, they're just kind of like myself. They're up and coming. They know a few songs, and we brought them up to sit in on a few songs.
Nice.
So when we do play all ages shows, and some of these places here on this list are all ages, we'll contact them, or they reach out to us like, hey, why don't you come and sit in? And I'm like, you are the next generation of all of this. Like, if I don't give you this opportunity, or I don't try to encourage you to come and do this, like what am I going to be doing when I can't move my hands anymore or whatever? It better be good. That's all I'll say. Like, when I stop playing, the music better be good. You guys better be good. So you better get your experience in now.
Yeah.
So
no pun intended.
So I'm always encouraging if there's any youngsters that wanted to sit in and come. So that leads into also last year, I was asked to host a monthly jam night at a place called Verona Pizza out in Valparaiso. It's a very popular jam night in the regions on Thursday nights. It's an all ages place. And so one Thursday a month, we have this quote unquote Hendrix jam. And we don't only play Hendrix songs, but the band will come up and we'll play maybe 45 minutes and sprinkle in a couple other fun things. And we get a lot of youngsters. We get a lot of youngsters coming in to play, and they'll come in. We'll teach them the songs on the fly, and then they're jamming. They're on their way. They those youngsters come to the jam night, and then they play. And if they're doing well, we'll invite them to a show. Like, hey, you want to come to a show and sit in and they've never been on a stage before. They don't know what a monitor is. Like, this is great experience for them, and I'm happy to help encourage it. If they're fans, I'd love to get them up there. So
where do you go from? You're playing all this Hendrix music and the whole bit. Where do you go when you've said, man, we've been doing this forever now. I'm getting kind of tired of this, but man, we got to keep playing Jimi Hendrix music. Where do you go from there? Because unfortunately, he's not writing any new music.
He isn't?
No, he isn't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his family thinks that he is, apparently, because they keep sending out these remastered versions in the whole bit. I mean, have you ever thought about doing things like, Jimmy played guitar with the Isley Brothers. Maybe we can throw in an Isley Brothers song or something like that.
We do some pretty deep cut B-sides. They're not Isley Brothers things or what Jimmy and the Flames, but we'll do a Rock Me Baby, which is like a B.B. King song that he played at Monterey with Howlin' Wolf. I would say you mean learn all his songs once we get done learning all his songs.
Yeah. It's exactly what we're saying.
It's take a long time. I don't know if I know any bands other than maybe Randy Hansen. If you're familiar with Randy Hansen, he was a Jimi Hendrix tribute guy who's been playing throughout the 70s and 80s and 90s. I think he still plays a little bit now, but he was fantastic, probably the best ever to redo it, and. I think maybe he knew all the songs.
Wow.
For us, I think if it ever got to that point, I think the next thing to tap into, hopefully if we're big enough or whatever, is the production value. Maybe we can start including some more visuals with the music. Because having screens behind the stage is something becoming a little bit more common, because the technology is getting a little bit cheaper, and the LEDs, you can put them on even during the day and you can see. Maybe the production value could be increased, where we have a little bit more extreme of a light show, something that would go along with the music. So it's not just us up there playing a song with still blue light.
Right.
It's there. You've got lights that go with the music, and you've got video that goes along with the music and stuff like that. I think increasing the production value would probably be the next step for that kind of stuff.
Sounds like maybe you guys have been thinking about that a little bit.
That's just
create the whole concert experience.
Yeah, I'm happy that the progression is we start right at the bottom where it's smoky bar in some corner, and because the music's, if we can't get that. All that other production stuff, to me, it's theater, and I don't want it to be theater until we can get there to the point where, this is a cool show. Right. So that's what I think about.
What about doing nights like tonight we're going to perform the entire Woodstock set?
That's good. That's a great question. There's a festival on this list here called the Freedom Fest, and this is if you're familiar with the Lazy Lightning Band, they're a Grateful Dead band.
I think I have heard of that. I've never seen them. Yeah. Okay.
So they're putting together a festival, and they want to do a night at the Fillmore is the theme.
Oh wow!
So a night at the Fillmore. So there's only the Fillmore song. So if you're familiar, obviously, they do Allman Brothers songs too. So they're doing Allman Brothers set, like a special Allman Brothers set,
right.
And a Grateful Dead set, because they were pretty much the house band at the Fillmore East. And then you got your Band of Gypsys.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the DVD that I have at home.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the one. Now that you're saying that, yeah, absolutely.
And so so for us, we do Band of Gypsys songs, but to take a step back and go, we have to focus on what happened at the Fillmore. Okay, so we already played these 3 or 4. Okay, there's a few more here that are pretty cool that almost nobody knows or that aren't very popular for whatever reason.
Right.
We're going to dig those up, and we'll perform those as part of this night at the Fillmore thing. Right. And so, and I think in the future that festival will have different themes over time. Maybe they'll do Monterey or they'll do Woodstock. I mean, there's a lot of Woodstock things, right? But not a lot of people will go, this is Monterey, or Otis Redding played, or the Mamas and the Papas played, and the Who played, I forgot it. Of course, Jimi Hendrix played.
Yeah, so. Right. Oh. And if I'm not mistaken, that I believe that night didn't they even open up with a Beatles song?
Who?
Jimi Hendrix. I think they opened up with Sgt. Pepper's or something like that.
That's good. They didn't, but
he'll humor you.
Yeah. The video that I have, I could be wrong. The video that I have, I'm pretty sure they opened up with Sgt. Pepper's. 3 guys playing Sgt. Pepper's way too fast. but yeah,
we do it. We do
you really?
We do it just like that. Yeah,
and you do it fast. Yeah,
it's loud, obnoxious, but it's pretty correct.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the story behind it. But what the Monterey, he opened with Killing Floor, which is a Howlin' Wolf song.
Yes. Yep.
And that one is probably 2 to 3 times as fast as what the regular one is.
Yep,
but I've
heard that. But
version. It's awesome.
Yep.
And we do that too.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, Sgt. Pepper is a great story because that was only a few days after Sgt. Pepper, the album was released.
Right.
And he knew that Paul McCartney would be sitting in the crowd, that he was coming to the show.
Yeah,
and so
they learned it that quick.
The story is that he taught it to the band backstage right before. To hear that album and that weird song for being that time frame and going, all right, we're going to learn this. And he did a really good job of it for what for not having an entire horn section.
Horn section and everything behind
He
you.
played the meat.
Yeah.
He played the meat of the song, and he was like looking at Paul McCartney in that video. And he's like, cover your ears, and so
and he was even chewing gum during it. He was chewing gum.
Was he really?
Yeah, in the middle of it.
He did that a lot.
Yeah, he did, and on time. He like the gum was falling out of his mouth, and he was literally in time where he can like and swallowed it away and kept singing. It was great.
But yeah, some of the shows we play when it's like a shorter set, we kind of make it a point to like almost half the songs are covers.
Yeah,
because he did a lot.
Oh, he did. He actually did. Yeah. Well, what was that movie that came out? There was a movie that came out not too long ago where what's his name? Andre Benjamin from Outkast. Played him, and the family would not authorize anything that he wrote, anything that he had a copyright on. So all of the music in that movie was like Beatles music.
Bob Dylan
music and stuff like that. There was actually no Jimi Hendrix music in the entire movie.
Bad,
yeah, it was kind of too bad.
Well, but it highlights all this. I mean, if you could pull a movie off with all the covers that he did, there you go. That explains that. Like he did a lot. So sometimes some of our shorter shows, like about half of it will be covers. Like Hey Joe is a cover.
Right.
You know,
Oh yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like,
Yep. Yeah, that's a cover. And then he did a.
It's like, is that all you guys do? Like, nah, man, half the songs were covers.
Yeah. That's why we learned the original version because we can't play the Jimi Hendrix version. No, I totally get that. No, he did do a lot of them, and there was what was it? And he played a lot with Little Richard, so there was a lot of Little Richard music in that movie as well, which is crazy. Yeah, he played with Little Richard for like 6 years, which is a crazy thing. Nobody realizes that. Yeah, and the rumor is that Little Richard fired him because he was always late. But then it was Jimmy's brother that came out and said, yeah, no, that's not true, because the real reason was he used to drink a lot and hit on all the women.
I think he was starting to get a little more attention than Richard. And
yeah, is probably what it was.
That's not how that band dynamic goes.
Yeah. So what are your, we're going to test your knowledge of Jimmy. You know, there's like 6 things that you can go back and you can look into his career to say, okay, these are the things that made Jimi Hendrix, right? One of them, of course, would be the Isle of Wight. concert, right? That would be one. Playing the Star Spangled Banner, at Woodstock is one of them. What are the 3 points to you? What do you think made his career, and what are the 3 things that happened for you to say, I really like this guy and I idolize him. I want to play his music.
That Monterey Pop Festival set was about 45 minutes. Even listening back to it now, it was just like on fire. Just what a performance. Fortunately back then they did film it. So when I first got it and listened to it, it was on VHS tape. So I was able to see all of it. And of course it ended with him smashing and lighting a guitar on fire, which, the kind of people think that's the only time he ever did it. He did that before that, but
several
there was just
times.
There's no footage of any of them. We ever filmed it because people didn't film those kinds of things back then, but this one they did. So that was pretty iconic, I would say. Obviously, yes, the Woodstock with the Star Spangled Banner. Let's see. I really do like the Band of Gypsys stuff. That was also I want to say my second CD that I got. I got all these deep live things.
Yeah.
That was given to me. And so hearing Machine Gun on that one, I thought I was the only one that listened to it with headphones, late at night under my bed. I'm going to listen to it again. Another 12 minutes. Another 12 minutes. But like you said, I get out there and people are asking, hey, do you guys play Machine Gun? Do you do it? I'll play Machine Gun. I thought I was the only one that knew about this song. And, okay. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's see one other one. This one was also in a different video. It was like a documentary type video. Him playing "Hear My Train A Comin'" on a 12-string acoustic.
Oh yeah.
There's very, very rare footage of him playing acoustic guitars, but they got that one, and that's a really, really cool rendition.
I just watched that the other day, as a matter of fact.
Did you really?
Yeah, it popped up in my news feed for some reason. Yeah, it's pretty impressive the way he did that.
Yes, we do hear My Train A Comin', but we do the electric version, which you see on many of his live sets, kind of later in the career, from the Band of Gypsys on.
Yeah.
But that 12-string version is a little bit. It's like this. If he had to play it solo by himself, that's how it goes, and it's so a little bit different and very cool than the live version, which are both equally good,
of course.
But I think that 12-string version, I still don't even try to mess with that. But maybe one day.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Well, hey, so I'll tell you what. How can people? First of all, I should ask. You're from Indiana. Do you play in the Chicagoland area at all?
Crestwood.
Okay.
We've done Pilsen, which at the place called Honky Tonk or The Tonk.
Okay.
That's in Pilsen. We did the Gallery Cabaret. I think that's in Bucktown.
Yeah.
So we've kind of sprinkled ourselves into the city just to kind of let us be known there. But obviously we are trying to get into some of the other clubs here in the city to play. What was the other question? Where we're branching. Okay, so Michigan, we have a few things out there in Michigan. Yeah. Obviously, the Northwest Indiana area, we've played it pretty much everywhere that will take us. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we're trying to get into Chicago. I think if we can do pretty well with getting on some festivals in the region here, which we are, that's going to help us kind of get our foot a little bit more in the door in the Chicagoland and in Michigan. Right. Kind of the goal. I mean, we like playing clubs because our friends come and everyone can be really close. But I think the goal, at least in the near term, is to to play some of these theater stages, either with a double bill or on our own, and do summer festivals. Those are the most fun. For me, it's the reach. Right. How can all this reach the most people? Right. Some people like playing in small places for their friends, and their friends are looking right at them right in the face, and that's fine. I like those too, but for me, it's the reach. How can I get what we're doing out to the most people, and maybe some youngster out there like myself when I was a 12-year-old or whatever, watching some band in some festival somewhere. I was like, I kind of want to do that. It looks fun. It looks cool. What song was that? What were they playing? Right. So that's what I'm trying. At least for me, I'm trying to give back.
Right. Excellent. Well,
which we should.
Yes.
Instead of them just doing stuff on their computer.
Yeah.
Creating stuff on there. Yeah, I wrote a song.
Yeah.
What do you play? Nacer.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about those youngsters earlier. Like we had that jam night. If I see anyone, trying to reach out with a guitar or whatever, hey, come. Yeah, the door is open. Come and play with us. It doesn't matter your skill level. We'll get you going. So.
It's almost like
do the same thing,
musicians are going to become extinct.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
They've taken music out of the schools.
Yep.
So it's not there. Of course, you got your School of Rocks and all that places now, but still, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the first place I learned anything about a musical instrument was literally in school.
Yeah.
And then I went home and told my parents, I want to learn how to play this instrument, that instrument.
And they said no.
Yeah, and they said no.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned. I mean, I was dying to be. I wanted to be, a guitar player so bad, and here I am 30 years later, and I'm exactly that. I'm so bad.
I'm sure you should come to the jam night, man. I'm telling you,
He has his own.
For the parents out there that have that child that's maybe asking for drums or asking for guitar or whatever, and you're like, oh, there's just too much noise. Like for my parents, they're like, no, here, they got me a guitar, and when I asked, I was like, can we practice in the basement or in the garage or whatever, and they let us do it, and we made a bunch of noise, but I think they knew where we were. They knew what we were doing.
Exactly.
Yep.
I don't know if they actually told it or it was on purpose, but to the parents out there that are thinking about that, you'll know where they are.
You'll know where they are.
You'll know
That's
what they're
right.
doing. Like they might be terrible for years.
Yeah.
But at least you know that, and they're doing something constructive. They're doing something with their minds. They're doing something with their creativity. So buy them the $100 guitar. It's fine. It's fine.
And support them.
Yep.
It's fine. Yeah.
Support what they're doing. It's going to help a lot.
And if you give them lessons, I guarantee you, the person that you take them to do the lessons, they're out there gigging on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is the community that you're dipping into.
That's right.
And so just help them out. Get that youngster an instrument. It's okay. Let them make noise.
Yeah.
You know what they are. You know what they're
Absolutely.
doing. They're being
Good or
creative.
bad, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys got a website? How can people find you on the internet?
Yes, we got a Facebook page. It's under Hendrix Effect. Instagram and Hendrix Effect handle. There's a link tree that gives you links to those. The same thing with the YouTube channel. There's videos there, and I try to keep it updated. I try to at least pull one song off of every show and keep it updated so you can see what's going on and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where to find us on the socials.
Excellent.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice meeting you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out.
I think I'd like to see this show. This looks very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would be like the closest one for you? Let's see.
Oh, probably the Beaver.
That's a Sunday.
Oh, you guys are at the Thirsty Beaver.
Yeah, the Beaver.
Okay.
So that'll be our second time back there. I guess they remodeled some of it and now it's a little bit bigger of a space.
Well, they've got they've got an outdoor beer garden that they've put a canopy over, and so you can actually go out there during the wintertime, but during the summertime they open that whole canopy up. So
If they can afford a canopy, they can afford to sponsor this podcast.
That's right. All you guys at the Beaver, we know those guys pretty well. I've played there many times.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. From what I heard is there used to be the stage was in the corner, and then they took over the business next door, knocked the wall down, and put the stage against the back wall. So now they got even more room. And I can't remember a buddy of mine was playing there a couple weekends ago, and I'm like, this place looks great.
Wow.
And they're packing people in there, and the summer is going to be awesome. And we're playing there in August, so mark your calendars down there. Just check it out on the socials.
That Freedom Fest sounds good too, though.
Yeah,
that sounds.
Lazy Lightning Band's been doing Grateful Dead stuff for over 10 years, and they're awesome at it. And I didn't even know they'd. Oh yeah, we do all this Allman Brothers stuff too. So you're going to get these three nights at the Fillmore. Like, oh yeah,
that sounds like a really cool show.
Yeah, no kidding. Excellent. There's pretty cool stuff coming up, man. All right. Well, hey, get out there and see these guys.
That's right.
I would like to. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. If I ever have a weekend off, yeah.
Yeah, you don't. All right. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you guys very, very much. All right.
Well, there you have it. The Hendrix Effect.
Hendrix Effect.
That's right.
God bless him.
Pretty interesting.
I don't have the hours and hours and hours it takes.
No, that is a lot of work. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some artists out there that you got to put in the time.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You know, if you really want to say, and people want to, when they listen to something like it, they want to hear it the way they know it. They don't want no changes.
Well, especially Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out and cover a Jimi Hendrix song and not get at least 90% close.
Right.
Because people are going to know and they're going to make fun of you.
And I think a lot of the stuff he did wasn't planned. A lot of the noises and sounds that came out of that guitar, I don't think.
There's a spider web or something.
You have a spider web on you?
There's something, yeah.
I thought you were like doing sign language or something.
Yes, I'm trying to do I'm trying to interpret sign language.
Okay, very good.
From our Lithuanian friends.
When we get our YouTube thing going, maybe then people will understand what you're saying with your hands.
Could be.
So until then, thank you for listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast. Check us out every Tuesday for another exciting new episode. See ya. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast is edited by Paul Martin. Theme song courtesy of M&R Rush. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not own the rights to any of the music heard on the show. The music is used to promote the guests that are featured.
Rock and roll, Chicago. Rock and roll.